Okay, so we did EAP today, the 3rd of Feb, and we talked about the history of EAP and how to teach EAP and needs analysis. So we talked about, to begin with, what EAP is and how it's different to general EAP. Okay, so English for academic purposes, it's a pathway to university, different because the general has more speaking and listening. Talked about things you need to learn in EAP, which would be vocab, syntax. Syntax meaning sentence structure, genre, the particulars of particular literature, discourse as well. And we talked about how it's changed over time. How, for example, it used to be based on just looking at the register, formality, and the words and the grammar, but now it's more of a communicative, inclusive type of EAP course, but it does differ depending on the learners that you have, the cohort in front of you. So when you do the needs analysis, you work out what kind of EAP course to run. And as the students who spoke tonight said, some of them did EAP that was just a 5-week course and it was material the teacher had chosen, not a textbook. And other people, it was a 10-week course and it was from a textbook. And EAP courses are run at the feeder colleges for the universities, such as Monash College for Monash University. And we can see this one's a 5-week course at Monash College. And we talked about ESP, which is, for example, for medicine, you'd be doing the OET course. And in the history, the very first organisation to teach EAP was Selmoose in 1972. As we said, rhetorical analysis is looking at arguments for and against a particular topic, and register is formality, and grammar we know is grammar. So less time on that and more on communicative. And the old style of EAP used to be these sort of textbooks, very grammar heavy. And this Daniel Horowitz changed it to a more student focused communicative approach for EAP teaching. Okay, so then we looked at so the practice of teaching, which is how we actually teach it. So we looked at how we teach implicitly, which means it's not openly out there. We do the subject matter, and within the subject, we then teach the grammar, which would be explicit. Okay, then we talked about other things such as micro and macro analysis of the language, which is when we're doing the explicit grammar teaching. So micro would be the specific words that are used in only that particular genre. How to teach a particular lesson. Usually we have the lead in, and then we do pre-teach the vocab, then we do the reading, then we do the listening, and then we do writing. Usually we give them 10 minutes at the end to write, because if they need for the IELTS exam to handwrite, it's good to do the writing. But if they decide they're doing PTE or the IELTS online, then they can just do online. They don't need to handwrite it. And that was just a bit more information about the functions of EAP, which is pretty much the same as ESL. And then we talked about getting the TESOL quarterly, and I told people how to subscribe to that. And then we had some homework on James Paul Gee, who believes that video games is a useful way to learn even academic English. And that was the end of our lesson on the 3rd of Feb 2021.